What's going on, GOGers? What's going on, my RAU familia? Um, I'm getting a lot of questions of the new guards and how everything works. I was talking to a friend, and that's all I'm gonna say is I'm talking to a friend. And sorry, I'm still really sick, so bear with me. Um, but the big question is the guard abilities, right? No, I'm not saying this is correct, but this is just my understanding of it from talking to him. Um, you get skills like this. D'Artagnan's Musketeers will launch a volley against the enemies every 10 rounds and cause extra damage. Troops in a march led by him will deal damage equal to 950% or 950 percent times of your remaining troop amount. All right. Now, the way battle is set up, and if you think about it in the way things happened before, troop formations, they always lined up in nice little groups and everything else. And certain types would attack at one time, and other ones would sit there and defend. Now, as many of you know, within every single tier group, different you have different types of troops, and they all have different uh, secondary classes. So you have your infantry. Your infantry is one type, but then you will have your pikemen, and you will have your musketeers. Um, that's what you will have for your infantry. For your calves, you're going to have your heavy cavalry, and you're going to have your light cavalry. For distance, you're going to have your riflemen, and you're going to have your grenadiers. Now, every single one of them will attack at different times of the formations. As many of you know already, your pikemen are your first line, right? Those are the ones that always die, usually before everything else. And we can verify that just by looking at some battles. Let me bring one up here. All right. Well, this one seems more like it. So this is our last KVK. I got attacked by a likeness monster. Um, and as you can see, I lost 385,732 troops. He lost 400. He lost his march, 452, 525. And if you go down to the battle tab details, you're going to see everything that was pretty much lost. Now, you're going to see here that my T12s were lost, but my T9s, I really didn't lose any. Why? Because the Royal Rogues are considered pikemen. These are considered the duelists are considered musketeers. The pikemen are there with the pikes. They're sitting at the front line, and they're the ones that are going to get attacked first. Now, think about it for the tier levels also. So you're going to have the first tier level of pikemen is your T2 infantry. Those are the first ones that are going to get attacked. That would be effectively be round one, right? So the infantry always get attacked first, right? And this is your first one, T2 pikemen. T1 Musketeers are not going to get attacked first. They're later down the line, right? So your T2 pikemen are going to get first. Your T4 pikemen are going to follow shortly after. Um, so keep that in mind that each one of those is a different round. So your T2 pikeman is one round. Your T4 pikeman is another round. So a lot of it's going to be dependent on the variation and how many troop tiers you have and what kind of troops that you have. So if you're, let's see, for instance, we'll go to, this is one of my formations. I haven't worked on my formation here recently, ever after I went to T12. I just kind of added stuff, right? So bear with me. I know it probably looks bad. But I use a lot of, Uh, for this attack before, as you see, I'm only using T9s and above, and I only have like a 1 all the way down, just an old school thing. Um, I'm only gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 tiers going on there. So you would think there's 11 rounds, right? 11 rounds is all I'm gonna get uh, for this one. So where actually, let's say someone's skill like D'Artagnan's skill, where it would come into effect every 10 rounds, it's going to be dependent on your actual march. So, with this being said, of me only having 11 different tiers, we already know that. Um, Sorry, that's a whole different one. This is it. Here, we already know that all I have are T9s for the most part. Well, technically, I'll have a lot more rounds, right? Because I do have one here for every single. I have one for everything else, which I shouldn't do, right? You want to limit a lot of the things that you're going to do. Doing this one is probably now going to be a negative because you don't want D'Artagnan's skill to come off on just a single troop and you're just like, what the hell? So let's remove that real quick and then I'll get back to it. Now I'm sick, so I might not be making any sense to you, and in my mind, I'm, a freaking genius. So bear with me. If this doesn't work, I'll delete it and make another video and put it out there for everyone. Alright, so, alright. Being the way this is right now, we know that the first troop that's going to get hit in this style, in my formation, we know it's not going to be the T9 infantry at all, right? Because infantry is always the first to get hit. So we know T9 infantry is not the first to get hit. It's going to be my T10 infantry. So that's my round one, is my 6,000 T10 infantry. My round two is more than likely going to be my T12 infantry. After that, you're going to run into the rest of my infantry. Infantry is always what's going to go first, covered up by your distance and your cavalry. Um, your your cavalry and your distance is all going to be dependent on, again, what you actually have out there. So, um, Musketeers, and I went to the wrong one. Your riflemen and your grenadiers, right? Basically, your grenadiers are behind your infantry, right? They do a lot of damage, and their whole purpose is to kill musketeers, right? Because you're gonna have your infantry line and their infantry line coming into attack, right? So you're gonna want they're pretty much taken care of and being barricaded by your infantry, and all their purpose is to throw bombs at a long distance and do a lot of damage, right? The riflemen are gonna kill cavalry and artillery, right? So that's what you're looking for. The cavalry is gonna like charge in and try to kill a bunch of the infantry. Light cavalry, they're mainly against the riflemen, right? They're trying to get by the pikemen, right? They want to go right past the pikemen to kill off the riflemen because the riflemen is what's killing off everything else, right? So here they're going against the pikemen. They will attack other things depending on numbers, right? So once they kill off the certain ones, you're going to go to them. So back to the march over here. D'Artagnan's skill is going to be dependent on all of these. So first, everything is going to attack by what their secondary class is, right? So everyone's primary class is either infantry, cavalry, or distance. Afterwards, you're going to have the secondary. So you're going to have either riflemen or musketeers for infantry, and light cavalry and heavy cavalry for cavalry, right? So that's their secondary skill. Grenadiers is one of for distance. So you gotta keep that in mind. Each one of those are two different rounds, right? So they're all gonna come in and attack at different times. So once we're able to figure everything out through some testing, which I'll try to do during UAC if I'm not like dying. Um, we'll try to see how everything kind of works out, and a lot of it's going to be dependent on your troop formation. So a lot of people have something like this troop formation here, which again, this is like an older one. I got T12 infantry first, but it was basically a little bit of everything uh, going down the line, right? This is going to give you a lot more tiers, a lot more rounds, a lot more everything. Um, so if you think about, if you use every single infantry tier, you're going to have pretty much there's 12 tiers, and then there's two different types, right? So you think there's going to be at least 6 rounds of each. I don't know how many tiers of each troop is going to go into them. So you're thinking 12 total rounds for your infantry, 12 total rounds for your distance, and then 12 total rounds if you have every single cavalry unit, right? That's why it might be beneficial for you not to have every single tier troop and every single round, and being able to determine where your actual damage is going to come from more, so that someone like D'Artagnan is going to be best. We'll try to figure out more or less how they fall into what goes into what round and everything else. But um, there's a possibility of 36 total rounds. Now it's most of it's going to be, like I said before in the last video, the game is going away from the dumb player that just spends a lot of money. Yes, spending money is still going to be a benefit, but what the game is going to now is you have to actively think. Granted, a lot of the better, smarter players, we do spend some money in the game, but we don't spend it like they do. I'm not spending $100,000 in the game. I think I'm like 3 grand, maybe 3,500 into the game. I have not spent a lot here lately. The new events are that they have what once a month where you could jump up 200 or 300 points in your skills. I'm like, those are insane. There's not really a big need to spend so much. I get my subscription and maybe I get some $5 packages and dollar packages. Um, no real need to spend more than that. I guess besides keys, I guess I do keys. I fall a victim to those. But back to this. So every 10 rounds, uh, this is what's gonna we got to somehow try to determine every 10 rounds. So let's say we do use 30 different types of tiers and types of it, so that D'Artagnan is going to use his ability 3 times. So we have to figure out what's the best ability of best way of doing that, and we try to maximize the actual troops that get the damage being done there. Um, how everything else works is going to be probably more like an RNG type thing. I wish most of them were more simple like this. Increase the defense and health of all infantry as long as she's in the march. I like Annie. She's one of the ones that I have posted, um in my wall. So, you know, you have something like Blanchett, he's also good for a defensive. Um so you guys gotta think about more or less how you're gonna do things. Holy Wrath is another one that's going to be just like D'Artagnan, right? But this is every 5 attacks. So if I'm right, from what it sounds like, that's what each one of the rounds are, or each one of the attacks are. So keep that in mind. Pay attention to your marches. Mess around with your marches during UAC. Get back to me with any kind of details or any kind of changes or something that you think that will benefit everyone. But I will be trying to do some extensive training and getting some of my alliance members to help me out. Well, they'll probably be seeing this video shortly. Um, and we'll see. I'm gonna have some people go out there with uh, like 10 different levels and tiers, and seeing how the damage is compared to that one versus someone using 20 different tier levels and someone using 30 different tier levels and types altogether. I guess if you add artillery, it can also add another 12 right there, right? So I don't really use artillery yet, but there is a big push for artillery coming. I don't know. I didn't say that uh in the last guide, but if you look at it, where's the expeditions? Catacombs. You can get instantly recruit 100 level 1 artillery. So they're there. Something's coming with artillery because there's multiples of them. So, be cognizant of what's going on. Something's happening here in the future, and they're trying to set it up. And at the current moment, you can buy 5 of these scrolls, which would give you, 500, I guess. Oh no, those are 10 scrolls for every single time you buy it. So, you can get up to 5,000 troops every single day from using these. So, be on the lookout. Heating speed ups also. I mean, those are essential. It helps you out. But until the next one, my GeoGears, I'm dying here. Are you familia? Until next one. Everyone else in my alliance, peace, love, and chicken grease.